Hi, everyone. My name is Nicole. I'm the community advocate at Lifespin, and today we are going over a workshop for children with disabilities and different financial supports that could be available to you if you have a child who struggles with a disability. Um, okay, let's just jump right in. Let's see here. Okay, welcome to another Lifespin workshop, Children with Disabilities. Today, the workshop was on May 14th, 2024, and I am recording this on May 30th. Raising children is super tough, and it can be even tougher if our child is born with or develops a disability. In this workshop, we'll go over provincial and federal programs and benefits that could be of financial benefit to you and your disabled child or children. First, we should go over different types of disabilities that are eligible to receive funding. What counts as a disability? The disability in question must last for at least 1 year or more, be long-term, and severe. A broken leg that will heal in time doesn't count as a disability, nor does asthma, unless it's extremely severe. It is important to note that a formal diagnosis and medical records are required for each program to prove that your child is eligible for funding. So a formal diagnosis would have to come from the child's doctor or specialist. If your child was diagnosed in another country, international diagnoses are accepted if they're translated into English or French. So here's some different examples of disabilities. Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, otherwise known as ADHD, autism spectrum disorders, cerebral palsy, language disorders, learning disorders, Tourette syndrome, disabilities that affect their mobility and their motor skills, and other mental, developmental, intellectual, and physical disabilities are accepted too. So we'll start with provincial programs. And the first one I'm going to talk about today is called Assistance for Children with Severe Disabilities, otherwise known as ACSD. If you are a parent or guardian who is caring for a child with a disability, you may be able to get financial support through the Assistance for Children with Severe Disabilities program. This program provides financial support for eligible families to cover some of the extra costs of caring for a child who has a severe disability. In every slide, I've put up the links for the relevant information about the program. So here is the link down below there that will take you to the ACSD page by the Government of Ontario. Eligible parents and guardians can receive between $25 and $618 a month to help with the disability-related costs. Annual increases to ACSD are tied to inflation. This means that if prices go up, so will the maximum amount for ACSD, the maximum monthly amount, I should say. Your eligibility and amount of assistance you receive is based on a combination of factors, including the size of your family, the severity of your child's disability, and the costs associated with your child's disability. To be eligible, the child must be under the age of 18 and the total household income must be $74,760 or less. So what sort of costs are covered under this program? Travel to doctor's appointments, hospitals, and appointments related to the child's disability, medical equipment, special shoes and clothes, parental relief such as respite, and much more. There's a full list on their website, and uh, we have published an ACSD guide, Lifespan has, and we have that guide up on our website underneath publications, and I've left the link for you down below. But for the full list, you can check out the guide, or you can go back a couple slides and check out the link that will take you to the Government of Ontario website. So how do you apply? You can apply online or by using a paper copy, both of which can be found at the link here. What do you need to apply? You need birth certificates, SINs, proof of income, and proof of Ontario residency, medical records, health cards, and the Canada Child Benefit Notice. How long until you're approved? It can take between 5 to 6 months, sometimes more. It depends. It's a very small office, and they get thousands of applications, and they're responsible for going through them all. And it can take a while, like other things, like Ontario Disability Support Program, but usually no more than 6 months. What if you get denied from the program? Well, you can appeal the decision and ask for an internal review within 30 days of receiving the decision. Your decision letter will have information about how you request an internal review. For help with appeals, please contact Neighborhood Legal Services at the phone number I've left here, as I'm not able to assist with appeals or internal reviews. I can only help with initial applications. Once an appeal process is started, it becomes a legal proceeding, and that is not my expertise. So I always send my clients over to Neighborhood Legal Services for helps with appeals or internal reviews because I can't assist with that. Okay, so the second program that I'm going to talk about today is also a provincial program, and it's called Special Services at Home. The Special Services at Home program helps families take care of a child with a developmental or physical disability. If your child has mental health problems, this is not the program for them. This program is for children with developmental or physical disabilities. It provides funding to buy services and supports that help parents with caring for their child or that support the child to join activities at home and in the community. The goal of this program is to assist children with physical and developmental disabilities and their families to do what's important to them. This includes providing the following: support for the child to participate in day-to-day activities, assistance for the child to participate in activities that support their growth and development, and support for parents and caregivers, such as respite services. And I've left the link down below so you can check out more about this program. Special Services at Home is meant to complement other services and supports a child may be receiving, including clinical services, like services from a doctor or physiotherapist, by providing them support for other things that will help a child and family do what's important to them. Funding for this program is a little different. There is no monthly check from them, unlike assistance for children with severe disabilities is a monthly check. Special Services at Home does not work that way. You do not get monthly checks. You pay for services and then you get reimbursed for them by the government, or you can have an agency manage the funding that Special Services at Home will give you, and they will provide you with the funding when you need to pay for a service or support. So that there's two options for managing your Special Services at Home funding. You can manage your own funding. So you get the funding, you buy services and supports on your own within the budget you've been approved for, and then you submit expense claims to the ministry to receive the amount back, the reimbursement. And the other option is it being funded by having the funding managed by an agency. So they would be kind of like a bank. They would give you the money when you needed to pay for something. And I don't know who manages this funding. You would have to contact the regional ODSP for a list of agencies in your area. To be eligible for special services at home, a child must need extra support beyond what is expected for their age because of a physical or developmental disability, be a resident of Ontario and be legally entitled to live in Canada, be under the age of 18, and live at home with their main caregiver or live separately from their main caregiver without support from other government funded out of home residential services. So basically, like if your child was in some sort of residential home that was funded by the government, I assume that you would not be eligible for special services at home funding. But if they live with you, that's okay. Or if they're in a residential home that you're paying out of pocket, that's okay too. So what sort of expenses are covered for special services at home? Support that helps the child with their daily routines, items or services that help the child's sensory needs, help with activities related to the child taking care of themselves, support to keep the child safe in their daily routines, tutoring to help with the child's learning, respite services and supports, including camps, before and after school care, hiring caregivers. Please note that basic living expenses are not covered by this program or any other program, meaning they can't help with groceries, bills, home-related expenses, dental care, personal items. Everything has to be related to the child's disability. So how do you apply for special services at home? You can apply online or by using a paper copy, both of which can be found at the link that I provided. What do you need to apply? You'll need medical documentation that can confirm the child's disability, proof of income and Ontario residency, SIN numbers, and birth certificates. How long until I am approved? It usually takes in between 5 to 6 months, very similar to assistance for children with severe disabilities. So, what if you get denied for special services at home? If your application is not approved and you think the decision was not fair according to the special service at home guidelines, you can ask for a review. There are 2 levels in the review process, and each reviews whether the decision was made fairly. So the first level would be asking for a review by writing to the Ministry of Children, Community, and Social Services Regional Office Director within 20 days of getting the decision letter. The level 2 of the review process is if the family still thinks they're not being treated fairly after getting a decision from the Ministry of Children, Community, and Social Services, they can ask for another review within 20 days of receiving the decision from the first level of review. And the family can write to the Assistant Deputy Minister, Children with Special Needs Division, to ask for a review. Okay. The next provincial program that I'm going to be talking about is the Ontario Autism Program, otherwise known as OAP. OAP offers support to families of children and youth on the autism spectrum. Children and youth who have been diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder by a qualified professional are eligible for this program, and the children receive services and supports up until the age of 18. And that's another thing that I forgot to mention, but most of these programs, they stop at age 18, right? Because then the child becomes legally an adult. So payments do stop on their 18th birthday. Access OAP is the Ontario Autism Program's independent intake organization that supports everyone registered in the Ontario Autism Program. And the link to their website is found below. So how much funding could you get? Funding is different based on what services or supports you need. It is unclear exactly how the funding works, as the website does not give much details, but through my research, I believe the funding will be very similar to special services at home, where you pay for services outright and you get reimbursed for them, or Ontario Autism Program provides the funding for you when you need to pay for a service or support. So to be eligible for this program, the child must be under the age of 18, live in Ontario, and have a written diagnosis of autism from a qualified professional. Your child's written diagnosis must include the child's full name and date of birth, the date of your child's assessment, a statement indicating that the child meets the diagnostic criteria for autism spectrum disorder, and the qualified professional's names and credentials. So how do you apply? You register for the Ontario Autism Program through Access OAP and provide all the supporting documentation that they ask for by creating an Access OAP account to register for the program and get support. And that can be found at this link right here to create an account. Currently, a paper copy application does not exist for this program. It must be done online. How long until I am approved? Again, this answer is unclear, and it was hard to get a hold of anyone from this program. So I did a little research, and according to my research, Ontario Autism Program is extremely backlogged, and with some people waiting for as long as 3 years or more. Again, I don't know how accurate this is. I'm still looking into it a little bit more and just seeing how long the wait time is. But just from my research, it's taking a few years to get approved. So what services and supports are covered through Ontario Autism Program? The first sort of service that they provide are called foundational family services. It's available free of charge for all families registered. And these sort of services aim to give you more tools to work with your child and participate in ongoing learning and development through services and supports like family and peer mentoring, caregiver workshops, coaching sessions, consultations, transition supports, and family resource and clinic days. You can choose to access these services at any point based on your needs at no cost. There are no limits to the number of times you can register for these services. The other program they offer is called the Caregiver Mediated Early Years Program, and it's a program that supports families with young children aged 12 months to 4 years old. And the program helps young children learn new skills and meet individualized goals. The full list of programs for caregiver mediated early years can be found here because the list was very, very long. But these programs are play-based, child-led, and developmentally appropriate. Programs are free of charge and available for up to 6 months for each child. The third service they offer are something called core clinical services. These services are based on your child's individual needs, and these Ontario Autism Program core clinical services include applied behavior analysis, speech language pathology, occupational therapy, mental health services, counseling, psychotherapy, technology programs, and materials for your child to help them learn. As part of getting Ontario Autism Program funding allocation for core clinical services, you must report your expenses. How you report your expenses depends on who sent you your funding allocation. So I guess it depends on which agency the funding is coming from, or which agency you are going to for these core clinical services. The fourth program they offer is called the Entry to School program, and this program helps children develop school readiness skills and provides transition supports as they enter kindergarten or grade 1 for the first time. The program is offered free of charge and is available in both English and French. Interpretation services for other languages will be offered when needed. The fifth program they have, or the fifth service they offer, is called the Urgent Response Service. And this service is for eligible children and youth who are experiencing specific urgent need and can access supports to help stabilize the situation, prevent a crisis, reduce the risk of the child or youth harming themselves or others. And children and youth who are in crisis can get up to 12 weeks of free support. Urgent response services do not provide funding to purchase supports. Children and youth registered in Ontario Autism Program can access urgent response services while receiving other Ontario Autism Program services and supports. Okay, now we're going to get into the next program, the next provincial program that Ontario offers for children who have disabilities, and it's called Enhanced Respite for Medically Fragile or Technology Dependent Children Program. The Enhanced Respite Program provides family of medically fragile or technology dependent children and youth with funding to purchase respite care. The Enhanced Respite Program provides funding directly to families of medically fragile or technology-dependent children to purchase respite services. And it can be provided in addition to other respite services. It doesn't matter if you're getting respite somewhere else. You can still use this program. Enhanced Respite is a grant, and it's provided to families who are caring for child or youth under the age of 18 living at home and are medically fragile or depend on technological devices and require 24-hour care 365 days a year. You can receive up to $4,133 per child for the 2023-2024 fiscal year to spend on respite. And more about that program is here at this link at the bottom of the slide. So who is eligible for this program? To be eligible, your child must be under the age of 18, live at home, need intensive care and constant monitoring on a 24-hour basis, be medically fragile or technologically dependent, meeting one of the following criteria: relies on medical and technological equipment such as mechanical ventilators, apnea monitors, renal dialysis, urinary catheters, and colostomy bags, is administered drugs intravenously, or relies on tracheotomy tube care, suctioning, oxygen support, and tube feeding. The Enhanced Respite for Medically Fragile or technology-dependent children give eligible families back the cost of covered respite services or supports when you make a claim. The services and supports covered are the same as those covered by special services at home. So if you are applying for the Enhanced Respite program for your child, I would highly recommend you apply for special services at home too. So how do you apply? This information is not given on the website. My educated guess is that you would have to already be receiving services from special services at home to access this program, because it's the next step up from special services at home. They recommend that if you are wanting to apply for this program, to get in touch with your regional office of the Ministry of Children, Community and Social Services, or Home and Community Care Support Services, formerly known as LIN. And I've left the phone numbers there for both the ministry and Home and Community Care if you are interested and want to inquire more about this program. So another provincial program I'm going to be talking about today is the Assistive Devices Program. We've covered this program a lot at Lifespan because it is really, really great, and it provides amazing services and items for those in need. The Assistive Devices Program helps people with long-term physical disabilities pay for customized equipment like wheelchairs and hearing aids. They also help cover the cost of specialized supplies like people who have used ostomies. And more can be found at the link at the that I've left down below if you want a more general overview of the program. What is the eligibility? To qualify, you must be an Ontario resident, have a valid health card, have a disability requiring equipment for 6 months or longer, and they do not consider your income. So that's good. Well, how much is covered? They pay 75, assistive devices program will pay 75% of the cost for mobility aids. You must pay the other 25% of the cost. In some cases, you can receive a series of payments through the year to help cover the cost of supplies. And there are other agencies like the March of Dimes or War Amps who can help you cover the other 25%. When they set the price for each mobility aid, they take into account the manufacturer's costs, the complexity of the device, and also a business cannot charge you more than the assistive device's price for the approved item. You have to pay for additional items that are not covered by assistive devices programs, like batteries, for example. How do you get 100% of the cost covered? You will have to be receiving income from one of these 3 programs to get 100% of the cost covered. Ontario Works, Ontario Disability Support Program, or Assistance for Children with Severe Disabilities. And I'm assuming special services at home would be 100% coverage as well. Depending on what device you need, the application process is different. Each device or item that you need has a different application process. But these are the general guidelines when you apply. Step 1, you get seen by a medical professional or specialist who can verify your need for the device, and they write a prescription for it. 2, you fill out the application form with the help of the medical professional who prescribed you that device. And step 3, you find a vendor or business that supplies the device you need, and you write down a couple estimates from different places of how much this item would cost you, and then you send all of that information, all of those forms, into the assistive devices program. For more information about what is covered and what the application process is, use this link and please click on the category of device you need and it will take you to the application process. And I've left the link down below there. There's also grants offered through the Assistive Devices program to help people pay for supplies. And they are accepting new applications for funding assistance. If you're applying for a grant, follow these steps. 1, print out the application form. 2, complete the application form with the assistance of your healthcare provider. And 3, scan and email the form to the email that I've left there. You can also fax the form, and I've left the phone number there. Make sure the form is complete, signed, and that all the pages are included in your email attachment or in your fax. If you are an existing grant recipient who receives payment via direct deposit, you'll continue to receive regularly scheduled grant payments. Repairs and replacement. The Assistive Devices program does not cover these costs. You must pay for these costs yourself. Care and maintenance of the equipment is your responsibility. And I do believe March of Dimes can help with replacement costs. If you need to replace your equipment, they may contribute to the cost if your condition changes or your equipment is no longer under warranty and cannot be repaired at a reasonable cost. The last provincial program I'm going to be talking about is called the Exceptional Access Program, and this is a drug program, and it facilitates patient access to drugs that are not funded by the Ontario Drug Benefit or where no listed alternative is available. In order to receive coverage, the patient must be eligible to receive benefits under the Ontario Drug Benefit Program. So your child would be eligible since I believe the Ontario drug benefit is good until you receive that until you're in your early 20s, maybe 18. I'm not sure. I have to double check that. But I've left the link there for more information about the Exceptional Access Program. So how does the Exceptional Access Program work? The executive officer, on behalf of the Ministry of Health, makes funding decisions for drug products covered under the Ontario Drug Benefit Program's Exceptional Access Program based on recommendations and guidelines from the ministry's expert advisory committee. And the committee is called the Committee to Evaluate Drugs. All Exceptional Access Program requests are considered according to policies described to ensure a fair and consistent review of each request. So how do you apply? Your doctor or nurse fills out and submits the application for you. Only a doctor or nurse practitioner can apply for coverage the Exceptional Access Program. So you can certainly bring them the form and ask them to fill it out, but it will have to be the medical professional that fills that form out. You cannot fill it out. So you print out the form, you bring it to your doctor to fill out, and the doctor can submit it online or by fax or by mail. They'll decide which option they want to do. What happens next after your application has been sent away? The Exceptional Access Program receives between 250 and 500 requests a day. Requests are categorized in the order of priority based on how quickly a drug is needed, the type of drug, and the condition for which the drug is being used. Turnaround times begin on the business day on which Exceptional Access Program receives a complete request from a physician or a nurse practitioner. You may have to wait longer if the request is missing information or supporting documents required by the Exceptional Access Program criteria. If a request requires external review or documents are sent by fax or mail instead of submitted online via SADI. Applications to the Exceptional Access Program are reviewed as quickly as possible, and a decision on your application will be sent to the requesting doctor or nurse practitioner in 3 days to 6 weeks. Starting on the business day your complete application is received. If you decide to fill your prescription in advance of the funding decision and the request is not approved, you will not receive any coverage for your out-of-pocket costs. They can only help you pay for a drug once the application has been approved. You may have to start taking the drug before your doctor or nurse practitioner can submit an application to the Exceptional Access Program. But once an application is submitted and if it's approved, the cost of the drug can be covered up to 30 working days prior to the date they received the application. Okay, so now we're getting into the federal programs, and there's really only one for children with disabilities, and it's called the Child Disability Benefit. And it's a tax-free monthly payment made to families who care for a child under the age of 18 with severe and prolonged impairment in physical or mental functions. And more about this benefit can be learned here at the link below. So who is eligible for the child disability benefit? Well, to be eligible, you must be receiving the Canada Child Benefit, and your child must also be eligible or receiving the disability tax credit. How to apply. If you are already receiving the Canada Child Benefit for your child who is eligible for it and receiving the disability tax credit, you do not need to apply for the child disability benefit. You will get it automatically. A child is eligible for disability tax credit when a medical practitioner certifies it's called Form T2201, but it's otherwise known as the disability tax credit certificate, that the child has severe and prolonged impairment in physical or mental functions, and the Canada Revenue Agency approves the form. You can apply for the disability tax credit at any point in the year. So in other words, if you are receiving Canada Child Benefit and your child is receiving the disability tax credit already, you are good. You are probably already receiving the child disability benefit. If you're not, it means that you need to apply for the disability tax credit for your child. I can mail you an application. It cannot be filled out by anyone but a doctor. I am not able to help with this application because it is a medical form. So I can certainly mail you the form. You take it to your doctor, get it filled out. Once it's approved, you will start receiving that monthly child disability benefit. So how much can you expect to receive? Um, your your child disability benefits are calculated using the following information: the number of children who are eligible and the adjusted family net income. Every July, your child disability benefits are recalculated based on your adjusted family net income for the previous year. For example, July 2023 to June 2024, payments are based on your adjusted family net income from your 2022 tax return. July 2022 to June 2023, payments are based on your adjusted family net income from your 2021 tax return. For the period of July 2023 to June 2024, you could get up to $3,173 a year, which works out to be $264 a month for each child who is eligible for the disability tax credit. The benefit starts being reduced when the adjusted family net income becomes greater than the amount of $75,537. To continue getting the child disability benefit, you must remain eligible for the Canada Child Benefit, and your child must remain eligible for the disability tax credit. To avoid delays or interruptions in your benefit payments, you need to do your taxes on time every year, or if you don't, they will cut it off. I see that a lot with the disability tax credit. If you don't do your taxes, they scrap it until you do your taxes. Even if you had no income at all, or your income is tax exempt, you still have to file your taxes. If you have a spouse or common law partner, they also need to do their taxes on time every year. The Canada Revenue Agency uses that information from your income tax and benefit return to calculate the benefit and credit payments that you will receive. So as I mentioned, please note that the disability tax credit is not an application I can help with because it can only be filled out by a medical professional. Once you are approved for the disability tax credit, you'll begin to receive the federal child disability benefit monthly. Other organizations that are worth mentioning are Easter Seals Ontario. They have an amazing incontinence supplies grant. So they help with diapers and other incontinence supplies for children. They have equipment funding, scholarships, top-ups. March of Dimes Canada, they have attendant care services. They have the Ontario Home and Vehicle Modification Program. They'll help you apply for that, help with all the paperwork. They also have technology services and assistance for your children's learning. And the WAR AMPS. The Child Amputee Program offers comprehensive services to child amputees and their families, including financial assistance, seminars, and peer support. Some other organizations are the Lions Club. They have camps and day programs for children with disabilities. A Community Living London. They offer family support, summer leisure programs, and I believe they have other programs for children with disabilities. Home and community care support services. They have home care, such as referrals, respite, nursing, and PSWs, occupational therapy, physiotherapy, nutritional counseling, speech therapy. They have community care, which is school health support services, friendly visits, caregiver support, transportation services, assistance with daily activities, and much, much more. Things to keep in mind. It is important when your child has a disability to keep things well documented by their doctors and specialists so that when the time comes when they turn 18, there will be no gap between their financial support between the time they turn 18. What often happens when a child turns 18 and they are on programs like Assistance for Children with Severe Disabilities or Special Services at Home, they will automatically qualify and be approved for ODSP unless their disability has improved significantly or if there's a poor medical history that cannot verify the severity of the child's disability. If your child has a severe disability, I would recommend they be assessed by a psychologist before they turn the age of 16 to 18 years old so they can be connected with Developmental Services Ontario, which is DSO. Ask your doctor or your child's school to see if they can help with a referral for a psychological assessment. I didn't go into a lot about DSO because it's not for children, but it's a service and a program offered to people over the age of 18 with developmental disabilities. So if your child does have a developmental disability, I highly recommend that they get assessed by a psychologist. And then when the child turns 18, actually, I believe you can start using DSO services when you turn 16. So when the child turns 16, you can take that psychological assessment to Developmental Services Ontario, and they will be approved for services and supports, and they will also support you through the ODSP application process when the child turns 18, and that when their payments switch from children disability benefits to adult disability benefits. Developmental Services Ontario is the access point for adults with developmental for adult developmental services funded by the Ministry of Children, Community and Social Services. When you turn 18, the child's developmental services, such as special services at home, assistance for children with severe disabilities, and Ontario Autism Program will end. This means that you must apply for the DSO to see if you're eligible to receive adult funded supports. Thank you for watching and listening my workshop. I hope it was informative. If you need any help or have any questions or concerns about any of the applications or programs that I've talked about in this workshop, please do reach out to me. I do children's disability applications all the time, and though it can be a long process, it's very beneficial for you and your child, and I'm more than happy to help assist you with those applications. So I've left my phone number here, my email, and my working hours, and please just reach out if you need help. Okay, well, thank you guys. Bye-bye for now. How do I stop recording? There we go.